Today we have Coglioster Special Edition figure. It's a Todd McFarlane Collectors Club figure. It says watch Spawn, the animated series, which you can actually find free, I believe, on YouTube. And here's some more figures he had. He had Sin City. There's a Marv figure from Sin City. There's a Dawn figure from, I guess, from Danger Girl, I guess. Maybe. There's some Austin Powers figures. There's Metal Gear Solid Snake figure. There's a Spawn Series 13 Curse of the Spawn figures out there. But these are the figures that came out in 1999. So, yeah. So, we got our little scissors to cut safely so we don't damage anything. Or hopefully we don't damage anything. Wow. I got the card backing off without damaging it. That's amazing. Now, if I can get this little guy out. Alright, we got him out. Comes with accessories, weapons. Has this sword. This is a great sword. This is an authentic looking sword, unlike a lot of fantasy medieval type things don't have authentic looking swords. That's an authentic looking sword. Then it comes with a sheath and belt, which is an authentic looking sheath and belt. He's actually in armor like a warrior, like a warrior knight would be in. He is in armor. The cape, he has this cape. It is a pretty cloth cape. I suppose there looks like there might be a way to take it off. But if you took it off, the only thing you would be doing with it is maybe flipping it over. I don't know, maybe you want the silver on the other side? I'm not going to attempt to take the cloth off because last time I tried to take cloth off of a figure, it broke the cloth. I couldn't get the cloth back on the figure, so no. Doesn't have the feet do have elbow joints, which are great for posing. He can pull his foot all the way up. They do have elbow joints, kneecap joints. They have his arm moves around. In this case, he doesn't. Yeah, his arms have elbow joints, and his hands have joints where they move around. So that's all good. I'll say that's all good. His head moves around. I mean, you could move his head all the way around 360, but yeah, I mean, it's not necessary. His hands move around 360. His elbow joints move where, like realistically, like a real hand. His feet move realistically. Now, his feet don't move, don't have any joints in them. But all in all, pretty decent figure. I'm going to try to put the belt on and show him with the sword. Alright, the belt fits on him. You can put the sword, I guess, behind his back. You could move it to one side or the other. That's what he looks like on the back, his back side. You could literally have the sword in his back like that, where it's hiding. You could put his sword to the side, or you can put his sword right in front of him. I don't know why they make these belts longer than the actual torso of the action figure, because that makes it where your belt's got too much space. If you look at that, I can literally stick my finger, 2 fingers through, plus the belt's already got a little bit of elasticity, so it's too big. Unless you're supposed to put it on the 2 notch holes of this, but that doesn't look authentic. To me, it would look like you should put it like that, you know, because the belts are supposed to be on his actual torso. The sword fits in the sheath perfectly. I mean, that's great. And then he also, you can put it in, you can't put it in this hand, but you can put it in this hand. Now, if you're putting it in that hand, his sheath actually needs to be on the other side, because typically when a knight drew his sword, he drew his sword on the side of the opposite side of the hand that he actually drew his sword from. So typically
he went like this.
So now there were left-handed knights, and most sheaths were designed to fit on the left side of your body because most people are right-handed. So those particular individuals, if the belt was designed with the sheath connected to the belt and you attached it, those particular characters had to learn how to draw a little faster from their same side of their hand that they were. But most of the time, which apparently this guy right here is left-handed, which is odd, because yeah, check out my sword, baby. Yeah, so he is left-handed in this particular case. So if he was going historically accurate, he would probably be still having it that way. But I suppose, because if you notice, that is the middle of the belt, which is designed correctly. So it would be on his left side, because most sheaths were on your left side, and most sheaths were in the night days would be on your left side, and you would draw on your left side with your right hand. This guy happens to be left-handed, and has the sheath also on his left side, like you should. But you can actually move the sheath any position you want. You could be weird and like put it like up here or something. Put it, have him some kind of way have like a shoulder holster sword type deal, which wouldn't have been historically accurate, but this guy is pretty historically accurate for his figure. I mean, he's actually designed pretty good. I mean, unless you're a nobleman, you probably wouldn't be wearing a cape though, I don't think many non-noblemen wore capes, because capes costed extra money. So you already spent a lot of money on your armor, and your sword.
When it was cold.
The only time you would wear a cape is when it's cold. So if this guy's a winter soldier, yeah, I'd see why he'd want to wear a cape in the wintertime. Yeah, it gets cold inside armor, and it gets kind of, probably in the summertime, it probably gets hot inside armor. That's why they didn't wear armor all the time. You see knights in the movies always wearing armor. Realistically, they only put them on when they were going into battle. They didn't go into the castle wearing armor. Unless they just, were sieging that castle and just took that castle or something. But on the average time they were spending in castles, they were probably out of armor and just in regular, clothes of the period. Like you see in Game of Thrones, where most people are in regular clothes of the period. The only time they're wearing armor is when they're either dueling for fun and games, going into battle, to actually battle. And a lot of soldiers didn't even have the money to buy a good set of armor. So a lot of soldiers went into battle with just, themselves and whatever pieces of armor they could afford, because to have a good set of armor, you'd have to have a forger do it, and that cost money. So only the rich people really had it. Or if you happen to be a good knight and you were poor, maybe the kingdom bought it for you. If you were like the Knight's Guard, the Royal Guard or King's Guard or something, you may have gotten the king, the government, to pay for it for you. It's possible. But all in all, that's pretty good figure. I mean, the only thing I see as a problem is, unless of course this show, I've never seen this show, so I don't know if this is a video game or anime or whatever this is. Unless the character actually draws from, is left-handed in the show, I would say the best, to have made him historically accurate, they should have swapped hands. That's about the only thing I could say that they could have done to make it better, is if they had swapped hands, because that would have made him right-handed, which most people are right-handed, and that would have, been a lot better to have been, right-handed in this particular case. Because, I mean, but then you would have to made it where he could. Then you would have had to make the elbow. You'd had to make the elbow where it could go that way. All they did was make the elbow go up and down. They should have made the elbow go side to side too. I've noticed that when they do elbow joints, they do a good job at making them go up and down, but they don't. A lot of times, they don't get around to making the elbows go side to side like an actual human being. And they never do the feet. They hardly ever do the feet where the feet can go like a 360 motion. Hardly ever. Do you see that? And the elbows, The elbows are always, if they do the elbows, they do them right, because that's about all a human can really do with his elbow. I mean, some humans can bend them a little bit to the side, but not, that much. If you did that, you would make a character. I mean, I would like them to make the action figure where it could literally do poses like being an ambidextrous type person, because the kind of poses you could make if you had all the joints that a particular character could do, that a human body has, and you made it where they could all literally go 360 degrees. Shoot, a figure like that, I don't think you could make a small figure like that. You'd have to make like maybe a 12-inch bigger figure that was a little bit wider to probably do that. But I'm rambling now instead of just looking at the figure. Anyway, the figure is pretty good. It's got nice little art detail, but Todd McFarlane, he always does good job on his figures. So, well, not always. There was that one I unboxed one time, and I was like, man, he most of the time he does a good job on his figures. There was that one time I unboxed one, and it was like, no, this is junk. It broke too easy. Maybe it was just in the package too long. I don't know. That's a possibility. Well, anyway, it's been this little guy. His name is Coglioster. It sounds like that's the name of the video game or whatever that he's in. If you know about it and you've ever seen it or played it or whatever, comment down below. I mean, this cape is a little too long. I suppose that's another thing that I could complain about, because he'd be stepping on it if you try to pose him like that. I don't really see the need of a cape in battle, because it's going to get in your way when you're fighting. You wouldn't be wearing it in battle. Unless he's wearing it in the actual video game franchise or something, I have no earthly idea why he has a cape. The thing I would make is where you could pop his head off, so you could take the cape off if you didn't want it.
Right.
And you could flip it over. They didn't do a very good job they didn't make it where they didn't make it where that's about the only thing I could improve.
Coglioster.
That's about the only thing I could really improve with this one.
Coglioster.
That's about the only thing I could really improve with this figure is really the cape thing, making it where you pop his head off and you can flip the cape over if you want to, or have him not wear the cape at all. Maybe switch the hands, maybe give him some side elbow articulation, but other than that, I don't see anything else I'd improve. Because if you give a figure too much articulation, you start making it being able to do stuff that is humanly impossible. And if you give it too much also, then you have to actually make the figure bigger. And he's like pretty small. I mean, he's the same size as literally my phone. He's not really tall. He's pretty small. I have figures that are taller than him. But he's a little shorter compared to some. But for the shortness of him, of what he's got with him going on, he's got a bunch of detail in the figure. So that's a good thing too. He's a great display piece. So there's that. So remember that God is good all the time. All the time God is good. Keep on gaming. Keep on collecting. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Remember, God's good all the time God's good. Jesus loves you, and have a great day. And later, guys and girls. I'll talk talked a little too much, probably.